Welcome back. We have spent the last 5 years analyzing every move made by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. We've looked at the PR stunts, the rotating door of staff, and the financial filings. But what we are discussing today makes all of that look like child's play. For years, there has been a whisper in the darkest corners of the internet, a rumor about a period in Meghan Markle's life that was scrubbed clean, a name that was erased from search engines. But the thing about the truth is that it is buoyant. You can weigh it down with money, you can bury it under NDAs, but eventually it floats to the surface. We aren't dealing with rumors anymore. We are dealing with biology. We are dealing with a ghost from the past that has suddenly materialized, and she has brought receipts that threaten to dismantle the entire Sussex empire. Her name is allegedly Sarah. She is 29 years old, and if the documents her legal team just released are authentic, she is the biological daughter that Meghan Markle left behind to chase her Hollywood dream. This is the story of the cover-up of the century. Let's look at the math, because that is where the defense falls apart. Sarah is 29. That places her birth squarely in the mid-90s. This was long before Suits, long before the Tig, and decades before she met Prince Harry. Critics and royal watchers have always pointed to a strange gap in Meghan's timeline during her high school and early college years. Official biographies gloss over 1996 and 1997 with vague references to travel or study programs. But according to Sarah's explosive statement, those weren't study trips. That was an exile. The allegation is that Meghan, a teenager with eyes on the prize, fell pregnant. In the 90s, for a girl with Meghan's specific type of ambition, a baby wasn't a blessing. It was an anchor. It was a career ender before the career even started. Sarah claims she was the secret that had to be kept to ensure Meghan's ascent. And now armed with what her lawyers are calling court-admissible DNA evidence listing a 99.9% probability of parentage, she is stepping out of the shadows. Meghan has built her brand on being a devoted mother to Archie and Lilibet, but this revelation suggests she isn't a mother of two. She is a mother of three. But who orchestrated this teenager doesn't hide a pregnancy and a birth on her own. This brings us to the most calculating figure in this narrative, Doria Ragland. We have been sold an image of Doria as the Zen yoga-loving grandmother, the silent support system. But Sarah's narrative paints a much different picture, one of a ruthless manager. The theory being presented is that Doria realized immediately that a teenage pregnancy would destroy the golden child narrative she had constructed for Meghan. It creates a chilling timeline. Doria reportedly managed the situation with military precision. She managed the doctors, she found the location for the birth, and she handled the adoption arrangement. It wasn't a standard adoption. It was a placement within a circle of trust, designed to keep the child hidden in plain sight, close enough to monitor, but far enough to deny. If this is true, it reframes Doria entirely. She isn't just a passive observer. She is the architect of the lie. She taught Meghan the most valuable lesson of her life, that people, even your own flesh and blood, are expendable if they get in the way of the goal. And there is another victim in this timeline, the father. For years, sources from Meghan's past have whispered about a guy named Giuliano. He was her college sweetheart, the intense first love that suddenly vanished from the record. The media ignored him, the palace vetted him and stayed silent, but Joe is allegedly the missing piece of this puzzle. Why has he been silent for 30 years? The answer, according to our investigation, lies in a watertight non-disclosure agreement signed in 1997. But here is the twist. NDAs have shelf lives, and they have loopholes, especially when the welfare of a child is involved. Joe is no longer the scared teenager who was allegedly bullied into signing away his rights. He is a grown man witnessing his biological daughter being ignored by a woman who preaches compassion to the world. Reports suggest Joe has reached his breaking point. He has provided a sworn affidavit supporting Sarah's claims, detailing the coercion and the emotional blackmail used to erase him from the picture. This is a two-front war for Meghan now. She isn't just fighting the daughter she abandoned, she's fighting the ex-lover she silenced. This establishes a pattern that is impossible to ignore. When you look at Meghan's life, it is a graveyard of relationships. She cut off her father, Thomas Markle, for posing for paparazzi photos. She discarded her best friend, Jessica Mulroney, the moment she became a liability. She froze out the entire royal family. For a long time, we thought these were isolated incidents of a woman protecting her peace. But with the Sarah revelation, it looks less like protection and more like pathology. It suggests a personality that views people as rung on a ladder, useful on the way up, but dead weight once you reach the top. Sarah was just the first rung. The timing of this could not be worse for the Sussex rebranding efforts. They are desperate to look like the future of global humanitarianism. They are launching lifestyle brands and cooking shows. But a story about a 3-decade abandonment paints Meghan as a cold, calculating operator. You cannot sell jam and table linens when the world thinks you abandoned your firstborn. It destroys the warmth that is essential for a lifestyle brand. The hypocrisy is staggering. How can you lecture the world on family trauma when you are the source of it for your own child? And what about Prince Harry? This is the $12 million question that could change the course of history. Did he know there are only 2 scenarios, and both are catastrophic? Scenario 1, Meghan told him. She sat him down in that tent in Botswana and confessed her past. If Harry knew and helped her hide it, he is complicit. He stood on the world stage, attacked his own family for being cold, all while helping his wife hide a human being. It makes him a partner in deception and destroys his reputation as the people's prince. Scenario 2 is even darker. She lied to him too. Harry has staked his entire existence on the idea that he is the protector, the savior who rescued Meghan from the wolves. If he finds out that the victim narrative was a fabrication and that she entered the marriage under false pretenses, the betrayal will be total. We are hearing unconfirmed rumors from Santa Barbara that Harry has been spending nights at a local hotel, not the Montecito mansion. If he has physically removed himself from the home, the marriage is effectively over. If he didn't know about Sarah, this is grounds for an annulment based on fraud. It gives him the legal ammunition to take Archie and Lilibet and leave. This brings us to the royal family. The silence from Buckingham Palace has been deafening, but sources say King Charles is not panicking. In fact, there is a sense of relief behind the palace walls. For years, the king has been trapped. He couldn't strip the Sussex titles without looking vindictive or confirming the accusations of racism. But this scandal provides the perfect exit strategy. If Meghan lied during the royal vetting process, if she committed perjury on official documents regarding her family history, the king has the moral and legal high ground to cut them loose. It wouldn't be a petty move. It would be a constitutional necessity. You cannot have a duchess who committed fraud against the crown. We are hearing whispers that the Lord Chamberlain's office is already reviewing the validity of their standing. This is the clean kill the monarchy has been waiting for. They don't have to attack Meghan. They just have to let the truth destroy her standing. It's ironic, isn't it? Meghan was terrified of the men in gray suits ruining her life, but in the end, it wasn't the palace that took her down. It was her own past. Let's talk about the evidence Sarah is bringing forward because it goes beyond just paperwork. Photos have begun to circulate on private forums, images that we cannot show you yet due to aggressive copyright strikes from Archewell's digital team. But those who have seen them describe the resemblance as undeniable. The eyes, the bone structure, the freckles, it is Meghan, but without the Hollywood polish. It's the face of a survivor. Sarah has also released a photo from her infancy holding a vintage teddy bear. Internet sleuths who are better than the FBI have matched this specific bear to a background detail in an old home video of a teenage Meghan Markle's bedroom. It's a small, heartbreaking detail. It suggests that before the ambition took over completely, there was a moment of care, a gift passed from a mother to a secret child. These are the forensic crumbs that lead to the truth. You can scrub the internet, but you can't scrub physical objects and biological markers. The emotional core of this story is Sarah herself. Why speak out now? The critics will say she wants money or fame, but Sarah's statement is tragic in its simplicity. She says she doesn't want to ruin their lives. She wants to meet her brother and sister. She says Archie and Lilibet have a right to know I exist. Imagine that scene, a 29-year-old woman knocking on the gates of the Montecito fortress just asking to see her siblings. It is Shakespearean. It destroys the image of the perfect nuclear family Meghan tries to project. Sarah also revealed that she tried to reach out privately first. She sent letters to the palace before the wedding. She emailed Archewell. She tried to contact Doria. The response was absolute silence. They blocked her number. They returned her letters unopened. Sarah says, "It was like I was a stalker, but I'm her daughter." This detail is crucial because it proves intent. It wasn't that Meghan forgot, it's that she actively, continuously chose to ignore her. That is a level of coldness that is hard to comprehend. Now, we have to look at the financial implications because this is where the Sussexes could lose everything. We are talking about California probate law. Sarah is the biological daughter of Meghan Markle, unless her parental rights were terminated with an ironclad, flawless legal process, which Sarah's lawyers are disputing. She is a legal heir. She has a claim. Meghan has spent the last few years accumulating wealth signing deals with Netflix and Spotify, thinking she was building an empire for 2 children. Now there is a third claimant. Sarah could sue for back child support. She could sue for emotional distress. She could lay claim to a portion of the estate. The litigation alone could bankrupt the Sussex brand. We are receiving reports of frantic activity at the Montecito mansion, lawyers arriving late at night, SUVs speeding off. They know the walls are closing in. Sources suggest that Meghan's team has finally reached out in a panic. They are allegedly offering a private meeting, no lawyers, no cameras, just mother and daughter. It's a classic move. Get the victim alone, manipulate the narrative, and buy their silence. But Sarah isn't buying it. Her response was brutal. "I don't want a meeting. I want a mother. And since I can't have that, I want the truth." She refused the private jet. She is standing her ground. This courage is drawing attention. Major networks are reportedly in a bidding war for Sarah's first sit-down interview. Oprah is likely out due to conflicts of interest, but imagine a 60-minute special, or a Tucker Carlson interview, or the ultimate irony, a Netflix documentary told from the perspective of the daughter left behind. It would shatter viewing records. It would be the anti-Sussex documentary, real, raw, and truthful. Meghan knows that once Sarah speaks on camera, the game is over. As we move forward, we have to consider the final psychological toll on Harry. He has looked miserable for months, the glazed eyes, the forced smiles. He looks like a man trapped in a life he doesn't understand. If this story is confirmed, it validates everything his brother William warned him about. It validates the hesitation of the royal family. It means Harry blew up his life for a mirage. If he leaves, he holds all the cards. He can argue that Meghan is unfit. He can argue that a woman who abandons one child cannot be trusted with 2 others. He would likely win full custody and return to the UK, leaving Meghan in California with nothing but her title and her scandals. The spare narrative would be rewritten instantly. He wouldn't be the villain. He would be the victim of the greatest con in celebrity history. Giuliano's upcoming diary release puts the final nail in the coffin. He alleges that in 1996, Meghan told him, "I have to let her go so I can shine." That sentence encapsulates the entire tragedy. She chose the spotlight over the baby, and now the spotlight is burning her. You cannot build a humanitarian legacy on a foundation of lies. You cannot go to Africa and hug orphans while creating a social orphan, as Sarah calls herself, in your own backyard. The House of Sussex is crumbling. The foundation was built on sand, and the tide has finally come in. Harry is isolated, Meghan is exposed, and Sarah is finally free. This story is far from over. We are just in the first act of the legal battle that will define the next decade of royal reporting. We will be here to cover the divorce, the lawsuits, and the inevitable fall. Make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on. You do not want to miss the next update on the DNA results. Until next time, keep asking questions because the answers are always hiding in the shadows.